So you just heard from one of the councillors in TMR who, along with a couple of three, I think, got themselves tossed out of caucus here. The issue, according to the person we spoke to, was over potential rent increases and the fact that the city was being inflexible in terms of spreading that increase out over more than just now, or maybe a couple of years. So to get the other side, Peter Malouf, who is the mayor of Town of Mount Royal, agreed to come on. Mr. Malouf, first of all, Mayor, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Aaron.
I don't know how much you might or might not have heard about what Maya had to say, but let me begin with what she did say, which was she believes now there is a toxic environment in City Council there. How do you answer that?
Well, I don't accept that whatsoever. I find that, I listened actually quite attentively to her interview, and certainly I think it's, I'm fully in agreement about supporting residents of Town of Mount Royal. My whole interest is really in the 22,000 residents of TMR. And if anybody knows me, I am a big team player and all about really giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. So I think I never wanted to play politics in our caucus meetings, and consequently I've always given a huge amount of latitude for the three members of council who were removed from our informal discussions to always have their say. I'm a big believer in open discussions. I'm a big believer in challenging the administration, challenging each other, and eventually coming to consensus on many points. But when that occurs and we cannot make any progress on very many important files that we have here in Town of Mount Royal, the people that end up losing are the residents. And there's absolutely, and I'm going to say this unequivocally, and I think you can speak to the other remaining members who are on council and in caucus, even one of which has attacked me vigorously, publicly and privately, who's remained, there is no bullying, absolutely whatsoever.
Can I ask specifically what led to them being thrown out then? Because if you're saying that you're all about open dialogue and you want to hear both sides and that's why they're there, why were they thrown out?
Okay, let me, it's Natasha, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with pleasure. So I'll tell you what, it's not one event that causes this. It's like it's not one event why you get divorced. It's like there's a whole series of events that leads up to it. So over the past 2 years, I met with them right from the beginning. From day one, I said, I have to have a meeting with you. As a matter of fact, the members that I got elected with felt ignored by me because I was spending more time with them, because I really wanted to make sure we had a team. I wanted to make sure I spent time with the administration. And yet, over the course of the 2 years, I'm a businessman. Okay, so I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, and what you have to do is you got to prepare, and always be prepared for everything, because you really only have one chance to make a good first impression and to do what you want to get done and to accomplish things. So I always made sure that everybody in caucus was prepared with all the information they required, contrary to what Maya Shamas had mentioned. They had all the information. I made sure of that. But they were very indecisive and required so much more, and the term is granularity, which means delving into the details, sending administration back to the drawing board, keep redoing things. These are people, in general, with over 40 years of experience in managing a municipality and have done a great job. That's why TMR came out number 1 on top in the Globe and Mail review of most livable cities in Quebec and number 11 in Canada. So I really tried to work with them. And ultimately what happened was, out of the 13 items that I had documented, this was the 14th. And if I wanted to take them out, I would have taken them out and asked them to leave in December. But I did not. And I wanted to wait again until we had another caucus meeting. And I saw the same type of obstructionism and delays and indecisiveness that the residents end up suffering as a result of. We were delayed on I can give you 2 clear examples. We were delayed on our sports and community center by a year because of their indecisiveness, because they wanted more details on design build over traditional build, which was all ventilated for them by the engineering team. They wanted to have soil test studies. They wanted to have legal opinions why they couldn't go back to the original version, which was not a good version, where all other councils agreed to it. And instead of me forcing the vote, because I had enough votes to move the projects forward, I really wanted to build consensus. I wanted everybody to be on the same page. They objected to our opposition to Bill 96 and the use of the notwithstanding clause. and one of the members had to absolutely delve into constitutional law and become what I would call a temporary constitutional expert and challenge our lawyers who felt like they don't know anything about this. Why are they doing this? That's very typical of their approach. So they've been playing politics. The more they delay, the worse I look, and the chances that they're going to get elected as a mayor and council, whatever, or their team, is what I think their objective is. Honest to God, I didn't believe that they would be like that, but it finally came to that. I think I saw the light.
We're going to run out of time, and I want to touch on something in the end and just turn this around as I listen to you explain.
Sure.
I asked Maya, I said, do you think, we talk about people wanting to get involved in politics, younger people, and I know she's the youngest person on council, and I asked her, do you feel this is part of the problem here? To which, of course, she said, yes. As I'm listening to you, I think to myself, is part of the problem that these people, these younger people, don't really have an idea of how municipal politics works?
Well, I had one young member running with me who was the same age as Maya. As a matter of fact, her name was Sarah Morgan, and she lost by very few votes. And I'm a big believer in youth. I had actually two members, and another one, Robert Tunus, who lost by 6 votes. So they were both in their 30s, very young. And I don't think so, but I do believe, because I did have a session with them, and I know we're running out of time, to explain to them what their roles and responsibilities are right from day one. I had information sessions with them 3 or 4 times, and as a matter of fact, I had another information session just before the budget vote, where I explained everything to them once again. So it's very curious that they're taking this type of emotional approach, calling it toxic, calling it bullying. I wouldn't go there whatsoever. I think, socially I would enjoy them, but I think, like we say sometimes in all the best families, you can't discuss religion and politics,
Mayor, we are out of time. I really just want to squeeze in what the main issue was here. We are in a housing crisis. There's no denying that. And this was about the tax hikes and landlords passing those on to the renters and how that exacerbates the problem. So what can be done about that?
Well, absolutely. So what we felt a year ago was that why should the residents who are the tax-paying residents and owners of properties in TMR, individual properties, not-for-profit properties, subsidize for-profit businesses? Renters are not compelled to have to pay any increases. As a matter of fact, this year's increase for the renters, the average increase is 0.63%, whereas the average home buyer, his increase or her increase is 5.94%. The prior year, when we had, the triannual roll evaluation, the average increase for renters of the municipal tax was 2.5%, and for the property owners was 6.92%. So property renters, if they cannot afford their rent, they tell their landlords are happy with them. I know so many landlords and good ones, and they'll say, okay, no problem, we want to keep you, you're not a problem, and this and that and the next thing. The landlords played a game here, and this is all about politics. It's sad. I have all the numbers. I've done an exhaustive study.
All right, we're going to have
sensitivity study for our community.
We're going to have to leave it at that, Mayor. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
We wanted to present both sides of this particular story. I think we have.
You have to get both sides always.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natasha,
Have
for
a
your
good one.
questions, and Aaron.
Thank you.
A real pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you.